Down next to you, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Tales of a Cock podcast. Here we are. Impromptu podcast. Sitting in Mikey English's apartment, beautiful Santa Monica. Got Pedro Martinez back from the East Coast. Pedro, what the fuck, man?
I don't even know, man.
What are we doing with our lives here?
I couldn't tell you.
Sitting here with Montekia fresh out of the studio, dropping the hottest rap album of 2018.
Yeah, definitely.
It's coming.
Definitely. Shout out to Kia, though.
Kia telling us some crazy stories. How many times do you get knives pulled on you lately, Kia? You've done like 2 in a row?
Twice in the past month.
Oh, man.
Have you ever had a knife pulled on you, Pedro?
Nope. That's one thing that's ever happened to me that I really hope never does.
Were you worried about it in Thailand at all? Did it cross your mind, like, oh, these dudes might have knives?
Knife, no. Machete, maybe.
Machete, yeah. If there's a knife, you can see it from a mile away.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have any confrontations at all?
In Thailand?
Like, anywhere, man.
No.
Like, you traveled for a little while, man.
So Thailand and Cambodia, not really at all, man, no.
No?
No, I think, I was pretty smart. Like, I think I was kind of similar to you. Like, I didn't really drink a lot,
Oh, really?
Like, I kind of only drank sort of towards the end of my trip. For the last 2 weeks, I went out a couple nights and like had some beers, but like before that, not really. And so I never was in compromising situations, and I didn't really hang out with a lot of people that were like, I don't know, but just looking for trouble, like, we're always
Australians.
There's no Australians hanging out with us. No, I'm just playing. So what about you though? Anything happen?
Dude,
when you were scared for your life or anything like that?
Nothing, man. I even because the most common thing is like petty theft. That's like a real concern. Like, if your bag's out and around, like maybe someone just takes some shit. Yeah. So I would like tempt the fates, man. Like just now, where Kia was looking at my Kindle and like he instantly saw a dope. You can see how like old beat up. This Kindle went everywhere with me, man. Mm-hmm. And it was my favorite thing. It was my prized possession while traveling. I literally inventoried everything else. I was like, I could do without any of these things. Yeah. The Kindle would bum me out the most.
Wow.
More so than the iPod, or like I had a tablet with me. I had a lot of shit. Yeah. My notebook, I didn't really need it. Clothes were, you can get new clothes for cheaper. Like I could save space by having less clothes. And so to tempt the fates, because people kept telling me that things were going to get stolen and everyone's out to get me, was the kind of the mentality that we're growing up with. I would put my Kindle on the very outside of my backpack. You and I went traveling with the same bag. There's a lot of zippers, a lot of compartments.
So many.
You can hide some shit in there.
Yeah.
I put it on the outside where it was like it was just barely like a clasp protecting it.
Really?
And then I would always laugh though. Like, what if
could you see it though? Like, was it visible to you or was it hanging off the back?
It was like you could see it imprinted as a rectangle in the backpack, and the corners were sticking out, and it clasped like above the center. But I was just laughing at like if a Thai dude like stole it and then sat down to try to read Hemingway on my Kindle. Of all things to steal, like no one would benefit from having my. I mean, if you wanted to steal it, like just because you wanted to read it, like. I would give it to you,
Right.
If you're trying to steal it to sell it, like I feel like I'd just give some money. Like that's why, like I try to think a lot about like what I could lose that would piss me off.
Oh yeah, for me that was my phone for sure when I was traveling. Yeah, and not
the phone
because
I gave you.
No, not the using phone. Like my and only because it was my iPod. Yeah, and I listened to so much music when I was out there that I couldn't imagine not having it. Especially because my laptop started acting up a little bit, and so my phone was my last like connection to Spotify and like all the albums I had on there.
You didn't get lost in the local Thai reggae scene?
I did actually. I was amazed at the talent in the local Thai reggae scene.
Right?
Because these guys were singing like Bob Marley lyric for lyric, and they sounded almost like Bob, honestly. Yeah. But they don't know a word of English. They just know the lyrics to the song. Dude, they don't know what they're saying, man. It's crazy.
Who's the coach at Santai? Pedro and I, we both train Muay Thai at Santai in Sankampeng, Thailand. And there's a bunch of coaches there, and they're all characters. Yeah, but there's one who goes to KTV all the time. He goes to karaoke. I think he owned the restaurant as well.
Crew Dang.
Crew Dang would sing to us. Like, I would rile him up. Like, I'd look at him and start singing, and then he would just break out into song. He was really into that Grease song, but he didn't know any of the words. Like, and now that I mention it, I don't even know the tune. I was about to sing it in his voice, but I don't even know. Yeah. But the one time that I did get him, man, was I was really into that Borgor song. Every day's my birthday, cause bitches love cake. I would sing that to him all the time. Like, you know that song I'm talking about?
I've never heard it.
So I'd look at this time and he would like, it's almost like an improv exercise. Like in improv classes they do this where two people look at each other and they say words at the same time.
Right.
But I'm singing a song I know that I've sung 1,000 times. This man doesn't speak English.
Right.
So I'm going, decisions, cause I want it all. So I get it all. I want to eat the whole cake. And he's trying to go like, every day's my birthday, cause bitches love cake. That's how it ends.
Of course.
And Crew Dang just trying to keep up, man.
Yeah, he was a boss like that.
He'd show up hungover to class in like a collared shirt.
Yeah, he was a cool guy. Dude, so you told me you wanted to hear about places around Chiang Mai like that I visited.
Yeah, the fuck did you do when you were there, man?
Well, okay, so I spent a lot of time at the gym. On weekends, what did we do? We went to the quarry, man. That was really cool.
What's up with the quarry?
So the quarry is like, you just get there, you kind of just hop in a bus and you go to the quarry, wherever it is. I couldn't tell you where it is in the city. You gotta go there. And,
trust the bus driver.
Yeah, exactly. And you get there, and it's just like massive lake looking sort of thing, but with steep edges, like cliffs sort of, that you can essentially like cliff jump off of. And you're just cliff jumping basically into like a giant basin. And it's just a lot of fun because, I mean, if you like cliff jumping and things, then...
How high do you think were the jumps?
Oh, dude, there were some high ones. Like, I would say they go from like... I mean, honestly, you could find little rocks down there that would be like 5 feet, and you could go all the way up to probably like 40 feet, maybe more.
Think you did those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. But to me, the impressive thing is like when people go and like do gainers or like, flips off that, because you're for real if you do that.
Ansel was doing that.
Yeah, Ansel was probably doing that.
I saw pictures of him at that quarry.
Yeah, I believe that. That place was amazing, man. What else? There's a lot of cool temples to see in the city. If you just go to the city, like take a bus or whatever, walk around. There's a couple that are like within walking distance to each other, and you can just... I was in awe the first time I saw a temple.
Oh,
like a
Thai temple
ruin, like a Thai temple ruin, dude.
Man.
And this one was like aged. It was very old. I couldn't tell you, but thousands of years.
But like I'm sure the traditional like spiky at the top, like glittered and beautiful shining things.
It was like the new temple, quote unquote new temple, was in the front.
Yeah.
And that temple was like hundreds of years old. And then behind it was like the ancient thousands of years old temple that was just roped off. But just looking at it, you're just in awe.
And what about the one that was like 10 feet from Santai?
Oh, yeah.
Like just right by the Muay Thai Academy
so
you have
cool.
to go to. There's just a dope temple. There's people sweeping outside in their robes.
Always, so peaceful, man.
And you were badass, man. You actually made it up to a real temple.
I did,
What'd you do, 30 full days? How long
Oh, my God. Probably like
How long
4,
were you there?
Man. Silent meditation, I think. 4.
How'd you end up at that place?
A friend of a friend. Well, really a friend. But a couple of us
new friend.
Yeah, so a new friend at the gym had told me and my buddy about it. Basically, you had told me about your like meditation experience, and then I think another one of our friends went off to do a 10-day, and me and a different friend had both kind of had the same idea of, we want to do some kind of silent meditation, but I don't know if I can do 10 days, or do I want to, right? My time is precious here.
Had you read A Fighter's Heart where he goes?
Oh, yeah, I had read that, and that bugged me out. I read another book about a guy who, I forget the title of the book, but it was about a guy who was practicing meditation, just like helping him everyday life, and he talked about his 10-day in detail. That kind of. I read that when I got there. It was the last thing I read. I was like, all right, I'm gonna read for 2 hours while I'm here. And then and that was the last thing I read, and I was just like, oh man.
Yeah, and the thing I would recommend to anyone going in 10 days of meditation is don't read much.
Yeah.
Don't listen to what I have to say about it.
Right.
Like the only reason I keep talking about it and tell people about it is so that they sign up. After that, I don't want to say anything.
Yeah.
Because what happens once you're there is like so personal. Like, dude, I've done it many times. In 2016, I went on 3 different meditation retreats.
All 10 days?
The Zen ones were 7. I think the one in August I left after 4 days to go work in Vegas.
Wow.
I went from silent meditation in San Marcos.
Ridiculous transition.
To Vegas, and I picked up a girl on the way there. Had sex for 3 minutes. The full story is on my podcast with Quam. It's all on the Quamcast. I literally I had to drop by Costa Mesa to pick up pants, and she was on the way. And so I picked her up. Because meditation, man, like once you're there, like especially for us, we're young guys, you're just thinking about pussy for like 6 hours a day.
It can happen, yeah.
Like in because nothing else is going on, man. Like when
Did you have to do chores?
Yeah, always.
Yeah, so chores were like a blessing in disguise, because chores just like got you sort of like you're at least thinking about doing something.
You're moving.
Yeah.
Every spiritual place I've been to, the chores are like the main activity.
Yeah, I was walking,
which I kind of think is like it's a good bridge back to your real life. Because everyone has chores that they're neglecting. At least we do. I mean, I've lived with you in the past. You lived with me.
Yeah.
We both neglect chores.
Yeah, everybody does, man.
And because they're unpleasant.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the things that they try to get you in is that like I guess maybe you weren't at the meditation retreat long enough to gather up the energy and like fucking come out storming. Because it's usually around that 4-day mark.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can definitely say the energy was brewing. Like, and all in all, I am glad I went like for the amount of time that I went, because it was at the point where like I was wrapping up my last like week at Santai, and I had so many homies there. I didn't want to like peace out early, but I was like, if once I leave, this opportunity is like off the table unless I want to do it like in the U.S. or something.
Which you can.
Which you can. But I was like, if I'm going to do it out here, it has to be now, like before I go to Cambodia. It's because it's just not going to happen. I only had 3 weeks left of my trip, so I'm glad I got to.
And what was the leaving process? You just walked out?
When I left, I woke up like the day that was like, I woke up like 36 hours before I was going to leave Thailand. And like I had
Wait. So you, even when you got there, you couldn't have been there for the whole 7 days?
Oh, that was never like the plan.
Like your schedule, like you're leaving on day 6 anyway?
I scheduled like day 5 or day 6 or something. I can't remember what it was. But it wasn't. But the thing
you
is,
were never going to do all 7 days. I mean, but once you got there.
Well, no, I scheduled like however many, I can't remember, it was either 6 or 7. Like, okay. But I scheduled it to be like, I piece from there. Like from there, I dipped to the airport. That's how I scheduled it. You know what I'm saying?
Savage, yeah.
Yeah. And so, and nobody that was there was on a 10-day schedule.
Oh, really? So
yeah, it was like, that was the process.
Showed up at the same time.
No. Like, that was the process of their temple. They were like, you set however much time you want to spend here with us ahead of time.
Okay, that's way different than what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's like at your will, like how much like time you want to spend at the temple.
Yeah.
So people were coming and going. Yeah, people were coming and going like as I was coming and going. But
interesting.
Yeah, I got like I had like a Shutter Island moment there when I tried to leave, because like I was like in the full on just white clothes that they told us to bring, and I was like 36 hours before I wanted to leave Thailand. That kind of makes more sense, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's not like an organized.
No.
Because all my
I wouldn't have done that, man. I would have finished it like that would have been
all the retreats
really
that I've
lame.
been on, man. You arrive at the same time.
Yeah,
and you go through a thing, but still people leave. So that's why it's not inconceivable. Like at the most recent one I did in December, a dude was there for a day, and then I just had an empty seat next to me the rest of the time.
Yeah.
For whatever the fuck reason.
Yeah.
But what happened when you were trying to leave?
Well, I was trying to leave, and the whole reason I was trying to leave is because I just kind of I'd had a good time. I was learning a lot about like meditation practice. Like I was feeling good, and I woke up and I was like, well, I had that one last night with all the homies, but honestly, if this is gonna be the last time I'm gonna see them for a minute, I'd rather just spend another night like seeing the guys,
Yeah.
And so I wanted to leave, and I was like, once I started thinking about leaving, I was like, I'm definitely gonna leave. Like I'm out of here. So I packed my bags, ran down to like see the head monk to like check out with him because he has my passport. Like they take your passport when they check you in, and he just like wasn't there. I looked around, I couldn't find him, and I just started having this really micro like fear really quickly. Where I was like, wait a minute, like what if I'm stuck here, man? Like, what if my passport is gone and like
just live there forever?
I'm trapped.
Monk never comes back.
Yeah, I'm trapped in monk prison. But he came back like 15 minutes later, and it was all good. He checked me out. Yeah. So yeah, it worked out all right.
You're fine.
Yeah.
You made it back to America.
Yeah, and I actually had
you got your passport.
As soon as I got out, hit up the homies from the gym, and we went out and had a great night that night.
Where'd you go? Square Despair?
For a bit, yeah. And then just kind of bounced around. And
was that the name you heard for that place?
Never heard that name of it, no.
Oh, okay.
Always it was called Zoe in Yellow. Or Zoe.
Because when I heard about it, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I think the first time I said that to you, like, oh, yeah, that place. That square of bars where all the tourists go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I learned about that from my homie at Santai was like a cynical young Australian dude who's just banging all these Thai girls, but like trying to fight a lot, but not into white people at all.
Right.
Openly.
So he never wanted to go to that bar.
he just called Square Despair and berated us for ever going.
Really?
So he's the one who took me to like the local Thai club, like by the university. I think I gave you the name of
Warm Up. Was it Warm Up? Because we went to a Thai club. Some of us on one of our last nights. Actually, it might have been on Halloween. I think.
I believe it was Infinity. Was the one I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple of them, but this one, man, like. I saw 3 different white people in there, like in the 4 times I was there, and one of them like saved my life. Not really, man. That's making over dramatic. He didn't do anything that cool.
Exaggeration.
Yeah, it didn't stop me from anything, but it gave me like a good cultural insight, man. When you're in a Thai club, Thai women are pretty modest, right? Like they're not showing cleavage, not wearing the short skirts that we're used
Very
to
conservative,
in club life. You know, you go to a club. We're in Santa Monica right now. Go to a club around here. There's gonna be cleavage and thighs and ass. And it's glorious. But in a Thai club, the only girls doing that are the really well operated upon lady boys.
Yeah.
If you see cleavage in like it was a student club, you know, it was young Thai women, and so that tricks me because the other thing about the club is that to get in there, the Thais would buy a table, and a table would be like 4 people could stand around it evenly, and it comes up to like your waist, like it's a standing table.
Right.
And it comes with a bottle of whiskey, and 4 Thai men cannot finish a bottle of whiskey. So
that's your ticket in.
I figured this out like so early, man. If I just go up like, hey, and then they have extra cups and ice and fill me up some whiskey, and that killed me when I went there on New Year's.
Yeah.
I was getting like a glass of whiskey, like per table. Blacked out very quickly.
You're crazy, man.
Stayed in bed until January 2nd.
Ridiculous.
Dude, I remember I blacked it. When I came to, man, it was so terrifying. You can picture exactly where I was. You know, from Santai to get to the main road that takes you to Chiang Mai, there's like 7-Elevens and stuff there.
Yeah, just the main strip.
I
saw the king drive down that strip. Did I tell you that?
The king of Thailand?
Yeah.
Okay,
go on.
So this is the exact opposite scenario. You saw the king, and I was like the most broken. I was zombie walking down that strip, hoping, praying that I'm in the right city. That's all I could think of. Because they all kind of look the same, you know. You can't just be like, "Oh, I'm at the 7-Eleven in Thailand,"
right?
And there's the road with the chicken on it,
right.
There's a rice field.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. They're all described the same.
So I was looking at, I pray. If this is San Campang, I live down this way.
Yeah.
If this is somewhere else, I'm dead.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And I made it to bed, and I stayed there for 38 hours, maybe.
Yeah, I had a few days that were like that.
Especially for us, man, like when you're in training, like not drinking, like not used to it.
Yeah.
And then to drink
to go
pints
out.
of whiskey.
Yeah, it's just, it's rough, man. Or Chang beer.
Chang beer,
yeah. Oh, man, Chang beer.
Dude, Chang beer is crazy, though,
packet
man.
of surprise.
Because with Chang beer, man, they make 2 kinds, and one's way better.
Really?
Yeah, Chang exports like a really nice beer.
I never knew that.
And it's 2 baht extra.
What?
2 baht being like a cent. Like it's
What was the actual the tasty beer?
Leo.
Leo, yeah. Leo is really tasty.
The darker one.
Oh yeah, I would drink Leo right now.
Yeah.
I would have a Leo right now.
Yeah. Other ones, man. Yeah. Most Asian beers, man. That's why they get.
Did you see a lot of Mahao?
I don't know what that is.
Mahao, it's I think it's a Chinese beer, but it's sold all over Spain.
Huh.
But I've never seen it anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like just in Spain, not in Thailand, not in Cambodia.
That's probably a Chinese dude living in Spain.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I drank Angkor beer in Cambodia.
Angkor, yeah. Angkor's great.
And I had a little tea bowl that I was traveling with, man. I don't know if you've seen my rice bowls.
No.
But Colin Keith, the only homie to come visit me in my 2 years in Asia, he gave me these $1 rice bowls. And so I go around to sprinkle some tea in them and fill them with water and feed Muay Thai champions. Like the heavyweight champion from New Zealand drank tea out of this little rice bowl.
Awesome.
It was badass.
That's great, dude.
You out, Kia?
You leaving, man?
I'll see you guys soon. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow morning anyway.
You want to spit bars?
You want
to spit bars on that?
Man, I'm going to go to Starbucks, get myself some coffee, try to call them, and drive. That way I can get off earlier.
All right, man.
You want to spit some bars first?
I will be down. I gotta go. I really gotta figure this shit out right now, man.
No worries, man.
But I'll call you tonight when I take a break to eat to see what the schedule is for tomorrow morning.
Okay? All right, man.
All right. See you guys soon. I'll see you tomorrow, man.
Love you, Kia.
Right, love you too, man.
Take care.
Take care, brother.
That's good.
Monte Kia has to take care of some rental things. Doesn't want to spit some bars.
Just trying to rent an apartment in LA. It's not an easy thing to do, man.
It sounds like the worst.
It's really horrible.
You did it for a while.
Oh yeah, it was horrible. It took me about a month and a half to find an apartment, and I was not being lazy about it. I was on Craigslist every day, looking at listings, and I just got I honestly got lucky to get the spot that I got.
Yeah, your spot was pretty cool, man.
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was low key,
Hollywood.
But yeah, East Side.
East side of Hollywood.
East side?
Cross that freeway.
Yeah, on the other side of the
The other side of the freeway. But close to the best comedy in the world, man.
Yeah, very close.
Always freaks me out.
Yeah.
It's an intimidating level of comedy. Like, I went to the Comedy Store not that long ago, man. I almost had a panic attack.
Why?
Just walking in there, man.
Who was there?
It was a Rogan show. Brody Stevens. Christina Pazynski was on it. Bert Kreischer. We were smoking weed outside, and Red Band just came up and started chatting.
Really?
George Perez. Man. Pretty funny.
Sounds amazing.
But, like, I've been to 1,000 open mics lately. You know what I mean?
Performing or just watching?
Performing.
That's good, man.
And it's so brutal.
Why?
Open mics?
Yeah, but what's the most brutal thing about it? I mean, I can understand. I could never do stand-up comedy, man. I'm not about that life, but tell me what's the hardest part?
So just the nature of every open mic I've been to, especially in Orange County, man. Orange County is an overpopulated place, and everywhere you go to is more people and less heart than could be.
Right.
And so every open mic, man, is just like 40 comedians or so, just like lingering around, like nervous, like egos flowing, and just hoping there's an audience. And sometimes there is, and it's a good night, and there's like 7 people you can try your jokes on.
7 people, that's a good turnout.
That's like killing it, man.
Really?
7 people show up.
Do people stick around after they perform?
Sometimes, yeah. Especially if like they have friends.
Yeah, it's like a community thing, kind of.
And just maybe it's because my own like introversion or lack of self-esteem or some lack of confidence. Like it's hard for me to just go there and like just make comedian homies.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm sure you notice in jiu-jitsu too, like there's such a great opportunity to make friends, but if you're quiet and...
It's hard.
Yeah, I mean, people just let you be. Like,
yeah, exactly.
They're not going to step on your toes to get you out of your shell.
Right, exactly.
They're going to respect you and, hey, do what you got to do, man. So I'd go there, I'd bring a notebook and...
Yeah.
So yeah, part of that's my own fault, but man, like going from the open mics to the Comedy Store where it's like how many people are in that room, man? Like 250 300 people packed in there, like you're touching knees with someone, and the best comedians in the world come up and just sling jokes like it's nothing, like it's easy, as if it was easy. Brody Stevens doing the same jokes he's done for 13 years. And they're still crushing it. Do you know Brody Stevens? Do you know his jokes?
Not particularly, man.
Oh my god, he's just a character, man. Like the joke that always gets me is he's like, I'm rich, I drive a nice car, has a leather exterior. It's dumb.
It's ridiculous. What do you think? So, do you have, if there is an audience for an open mic, do you have like expectations? Do you think that ever bums you out? Like, do you ever see 10 people and then get your hopes up like, all right, I'm going to get like 7 of these people laugh at the first thing I say, and then you get up and you do it and it does not happen? Like, does that ever happen to you?
Like, all the time.
All the time. You can't control it, right? Like, you automatically, as soon as you see people, you're like, expectations, like, yeah, like.
I mean, I have a pretty good idea of like, the quality of my jokes, you know what I mean? Like I know some of them just like are funny, and some of them I'm not so confident about. Right. And I haven't been coming up with new stuff so much lately, so like I have all the stuff I'm pretty familiar with. Yeah. And so I know like if there's 12 people there who haven't seen me before, they'll fucking love it when I talk about how I had black roommates and what I learned. You know what I mean? Like that's like that's just a solid bit. Yeah. Colin married my ex-girlfriend. Yeah. That's like 4 minutes easy. Like I can just go off on that.
Is that what's your most gold? Like what's your piece of gold that just always goes?
For Colin and Casey, the one that I say for them is like how easily I could destroy their marriage. It's just a little lie. And so I've changed the punchline. The punchline could be anything, but just say some creepy sexual stuff like to Colin about her. So like, man, does she still cry during anal? Yeah. Does she ever get home? But, like, me, I didn't even like touch her butt. But, you know, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. Like, like that. You can just destroy their marriage. Because I don't even know if I've talked about that on this much, man. But like, I got to go to the wedding of the girl whose virginity I took 8 years ago.
It's something special.
And she married my buddy Colin.
How long were you guys dating before that?
Like often, like she came down to USD a couple times, but it was basically like the 6 months before college, and then it just lingered from there. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I'd see her when I come home, and then she wants to get back together, and don't really know how to respond to that. Yeah. And just kind of go back to San Diego and looking for girls there, and it's not really working out. So then she comes down. Yeah. It dragged on for a while. Yeah. And then after that, Colin moved down to San Diego. That's when you met him. Yeah. He's my roommate. We're really close. Like, he's a good buddy. Yeah. And then I got to go to their wedding, man, in August.
Do you think that good comedians, no matter what their day or, like, the most uninteresting thing, do you think they can make it, like, funny?
In theory, yeah.
In theory?
In theory. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, some of the stuff Dave Chappelle talks about is so mundane.
Yeah, it really is. It's just like an everyday occurrence that happens to like everybody.
A thought he had. Yeah. And then it's just, that's the skill, man, like getting that rhythm and timing and like, getting people's attention. Like, that's why I think the biggest thing, because I'm sure you've seen this with DJing too, man, like, you can have the dopest beat, but if people are chatting and like not paying attention, they'll just miss it. Right. So in the same way, you can have a dope punchline, but the setup is just gathering attention. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So especially open mics, man, like some people are eating, people are drinking, people are trying to get laid, people are trying to talk to their friends, they're trying to text. Right. And so you're up there and you can see all of it. Like no one's hiding anything. Yeah. You can see exactly who's listening, you can see exactly who's paying attention. Yeah. And so it's just gathering their attention and then hitting them with it. Right. In the same way, if every EDM DJ has those huge rises to let you know some shit is about to go down. Yeah. Get ready. You have 10, 9. You know what I mean? It's that. Right. And so getting that effect. So that's what the masters are doing. They walk on charismatic enough to keep your attention. Yeah. That's really cool. Especially like where he is now, man. If Dave Chappelle's anywhere, like I'm not gonna interrupt. Like you know what I mean? Yeah. Like if we saw him at Starbucks, I would, out of respect, I would just not say anything.
Just wait for him to just initiate no matter what. Just like
or not, whatever. Yeah. If someone's that careful with their words, like he's not just gonna have some bullshit. But yeah, man. So the reason I want to talk to you about Thailand and everything, man, is I'm trying to write this book. I haven't even really talked about it on this podcast, but I think the last podcast, the one that's going to come out before this one, is I'm sitting down with the guy who hired me to write a book for his series. The whole series called? It's called Try Not to Die, and it's choose your own adventure stories that almost all of them end in death. So you have like a couple different scenarios. So my story, it's a guy at Santai.
Wait, is this based on real events, or is this like a true story?
It can be anything. So in this series, it could be anything. It's very open-ended. His stories are all fiction and crazy horror, and that's his genre of writing. Yeah. Mine, it's fiction, but it's like a Thai dude at Santai, a Thai dude who grew up in America. He was adopted by white people, and now he's in Chiang Mai, and the promoter comes in and is like, "Hey, we need someone to fight tonight," and he's like, "Fuck. Like, I just got here like 3 weeks ago, but I fought in America under different rules." Right. So the first choice of the book is, do you want to take the fight or don't? If you take the fight...
Oh, so this is like an interactive book.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Choose your own adventure.
I've never heard of this before.
So you take a fight, turn to page 4. Don't take the fight, turn to page 72. Yeah. And if you don't take the fight, it's death and destruction. Like, just chaos. Like, anything you do ends in death. Yeah. You fucking go to the hot springs and you fall in. You go to the quarry and hit your head on a rock. Yeah. A snake gets you. You meet a white girl and you're supposed to fuck in the bushes, and then you go in there and get bit by a snake. Okay. You go to the hooker place and your cousin's there and he's causing a scene, and then all the Thais are fighting, and then you have to choose, like, do you help your cousin? Do you fight off these Thai guys?
Interesting.
And so it's cool, man. I just because I love Chiang Mai so much, man. That's like one of the places that's most vivid in my head. Like, yeah. I feel like even though I haven't been there in so long, like, I still have so many details. Like, I still remember what it smells like. Yeah. Just pure exhaust. Yeah. Tuk-tuk exhaust.
Yeah, seriously.
Tuk-tuk exhaust and curry.
I mean, I really didn't see any cities outside of Chiang Mai, to be honest with you. I flew into Bangkok. I spent like an hour there for my layover, and then
You never stayed the night in Bangkok?
No, man. I didn't really have much interest to.
Yeah, it sounds like we're the only ones, man. Like, everyone that I tell that to is like, what?
Yeah, they don't get it.
They have hookers.
Yeah.
I saw a movie in Bangkok, though, and that was dope.
Did you?
Yeah, I saw The Hobbit.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. When I was in Chiang Mai, I definitely looked into making a trip to, like, Phuket. There was a couple other guys who were traveling down there, and it kind of sparked my interest. I looked at it. There was gyms down there to train at. Yeah. It looked like a pretty sweet deal, but I was pretty broke, to be honest. Yeah. And I was comfortable in Chiang Mai, so I didn't make the move. Yeah. And I was kind of like developing friendships at that point, you know, at the point where like, these guys are cool. Like, you know, I want to see, like, let's go out, have more experiences, not like just dip out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And that's a rare thing when traveling, man. It's like having those like close friendships.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's so much like single serving friendships.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
Like for better and worse, man. I actually got really into that at some point. Where
really?
like I could say anything to this person and I'll never see them again.
Yeah.
So I can be really honest is like the direction I took that. You can take that both ways.
Yeah.
You can just lie to everybody.
One of the funny
or you can
things,
just like tell them your darkest secrets and just see if they get uncomfortable.
And like one of the funny things also when you're traveling like that is that you don't know how long you're going to know someone a lot of the times. You have no idea.
No idea.
Like, you meet someone, you treat them pretty much the same, whether you're going to know them for, like, a day or 6 months, like, you might not know.
Yeah.
You might become best friends, dude.
Which is, like, such a good way to do it, man. Yeah. It's so hard to, like, we just went to a Whole Foods in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
No one in there was friendly. No one in there was talking. No one in there was chatting. There's no friendships being formed.
All business.
But, like, if we could go in there and have that attitude of, like, being nice to everybody, and that sounds like a nice human thing. Something that shouldn't really have to be spoken about.
Right.
Like, I feel dumb saying it. Like,
you
know what, man? Just try to be nice to people.
Yeah.
It sounds retarded.
Yeah.
But you see it in crowded areas like this one.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
It's just lost.
Yeah.
And so that's a beautiful thing about traveling, man. You go there and you have to, like... Dude, I remember I met these guys at a hostel in Vietnam when I was just motorcycling.
Yeah.
And I was so into the romantic idea of just, like, me on my motorcycle, just cruising, and no one knows where I am, and I don't have to respond to anybody. And I met these dudes, and they're going the exact same way. And I remember there's a moment where they're like, yeah, man, you want to come with us? I was like, oh, maybe. And they're like, the fuck, dude? I was like, yeah, you're right. That was ridiculously rude and unnecessary. And then I ended up hanging out with them for like 3 more weeks. Like we went up, we rode motorcycles until I met up with Eddie Lee. In Vietnam. Eddie Lee came out to visit. Eddie Lee's the only person that we know who saw me on a motorcycle. I gave him a ride on my broken ass motorcycle.
The only person that we know of that made it out to see you.
Him and Colin, man.
Colin came too?
Colin came to Taiwan.
That's awesome.
Like when I first got there and I knew nothing.
Yeah.
And so we were just wandering around lost. We went to the place where this tea is from. The tea we're drinking is Sun Moon Lake red tea. And we went to Sun Moon Lake. It's an actual lake. It's the biggest lake in Taiwan.
Wow.
It's beautiful. We rented motorcycles and rode all the way around it. Literally just lapped it. Like we had no idea where to go.
Yeah.
And then the only Chinese symbol I knew at the time was the one for tea.
Yeah.
So we could drive around until we see that symbol and pull over really fast to see if there's any tea he wanted to buy.
Interesting.
Because Colin comes with the big bucks, you know. He's like, okay, I only have $1,000. What can we do? He's like,
in Asia. Yeah.
Like, okay, we can get anything
you want.
You can buy the store.
Yeah. You want a helicopter? Yeah, you can get that here.
We can get you a woman, a dog, a motorcycle, a house. And so we did that for hours, man. And I don't know what I was talking about. Vietnam with Eddie Lee. I went camping with Eddie Lee.
Yeah.
Camping with Eddie Lee in northern Vietnam.
That sounds insane, bro.
It's ridiculous.
Yo, so is our next topic vibrational medicine or Reiki?
I mean, there's a book right here about vibrational medicine. I kind of feel like Reiki is vibrational medicine based on the covers and flipping through the books.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, well, every other page was just a drawing, like an outline of a human being and like circles around them, like invisible fields that... Oh, man, something I want to ask you about. What's your experience with acupuncture?
I've had a couple experiences with acupuncture. The first time I went to acupuncture, there's an acupuncturist in the back of the Mad Monk tea shop. Do you remember this?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
He just lives there? Like,
it's almost like a false wall. Like, you go to the tea shop and to the right is Taylor, and he drinks tea there.
Is it before or behind the opium den?
It's right where the opium den would be.
Okay.
So you hang a left, and, like, now there's a doorknob. But he's the highest rated acupuncturist in San Diego, according to Yelp.
They have ratings for those?
Yeah, of course. Everything's rated now.
Right.
And so I went there after doing jiu-jitsu for 6 months. In my first 6 months of jiu-jitsu, for no explainable reason, it doesn't make sense to me even to this day, I could get everyone in the gym locked in my triangle. Couldn't always finish it, but if you're in my guard, you're going into my triangle. And I didn't know what to do after that. So I was using a lot of strength, and it fucked up my right hip to the point that if my feet were planted on the floor, I couldn't raise my right leg. Wow. Like, measurably injured. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's no bullshit around that. Like, I can't move it. Yeah. And then I went to the acupuncturist, Lucas. Yeah. And he stuck me with needles in my hip, in my foot, in my neck, in my arm. and we chilled there. So the way he does it, man, is he sticks needles in you for a couple minutes.
Are you just watching the needles go into your skin?
I try not to, man.
You can't watch that, huh?
Personally, no.
I don't think I could either.
Yeah, like laying. So you're laying on a table, like a massage table, like a doctor's table, and so he's working. You don't have to look. Like your head's pointed straight up.
Do you feel the needles go in?
You feel something, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it freaks me out even thinking about it.
I know, it freaks me out too, but you had good results, right?
Yeah, after 45 minutes of that, man, like he sticks with needles and he walks out of the room, which is great that he's at a tea shop after that. That's a dope life for him.
Yeah.
He just, anytime someone needs to wait with needles in him, he just goes and drinks tea
with
Taylor.
Yeah, yeah.
And then at the end of it, man, I could lift my leg, I was back in it. Like, it was measurably successful.
Wow.
Since then, I've done 2 other acupunctures where I wasn't really that injured and didn't really need anything.
Right.
They hurt going in.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you if they helped. I don't
Interesting. Know. They hurt more than the first time, or?
Yeah, it was a different guy too.
That was a different guy.
It was in Taiwan.
Okay.
It's my buddy who I don't know how much practice he'd been getting in lately. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's something to it, man. Like for sure.
I'm thinking about trying it out, man.
Yeah, if you're injured, man, and you have someone good and it's a good price, like
might as well.
Yeah, give it a shot. Why, you hurt, man?
A little bit, man. I mean, we're at that age where like I've re-injured a couple of things a couple of times, so they're just like a little bit. I don't want to say chronically weaker, but I'm making it a point to like strengthen these things, right? One of which being my lower back. Like I just have a lower back injury from high school. Just actually that goes back to like playing lacrosse, but like and lifting. Like it was a combination of the two with not proper like, stretching and really like torqued my back. And then that injury has like re-happened at random times. Like it happened to me this past Saturday for no reason. Like I woke up and then I went downstairs and then I went to go put my shoes on to go outside and my back just like seized up. And I couldn't like stand back up straight again.
Shouldn't be wearing shoes, man.
Dude, like it was, my back. So my back is still like kind of messed up, but so I thought about acupuncture for that.
Yeah.
And I've also thought about it for this like hip injury that I've been kind of nursing for about a year now.
Yeah, and jiu-jitsu is not helping you with those injuries.
Not at all, dude. Not
like
at all.
The 2 places jiu-jitsu hurts the most.
Yeah, it sucks.
Are you still rolling? Are you doing jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
And foam rolling. I thought that's what you meant.
Yeah.
But actually, the funny thing is, man.
And rolling blunts. That's such a loaded word.
Yeah, it is. No, but the funny thing is, with this whole back injury thing, like the day before, I had gone to jiu-jitsu class, and I got there late, and I didn't stretch before class. So.
Classic mistake.
And I didn't really stretch after, and it's weird that if that caused my back to be kind of messed up the next day, it took like 24 hours, and then it was just sense,
man.
My back's fucked up.
Dude, it blows my mind how some people do jiu-jitsu without warming up.
Yeah, I don't get it, because this is the only time I've ever done it, and this is the only time I've ever walked away with a messed up back.
Dude, like there's a class, man, like maybe people listening know who I'm talking about. There's a guy at 10th Planet who leads classes where there's no warm-up.
Oh my God,
literally
no, I wouldn't.
Step into technique.
Nope.
And it blows my mind. I'm like, how the fuck do you expect me to like hit a sweep without like a little sweat or like a little warming up my back, my hips, like
I'm
something, man. Hit a downward dog.
Yeah, I'm so warm-up oriented, and just like my buddy, shout out to Quantum Fitness. He's my buddy that's a personal trainer that has me on a plan right now.
Yeah?
He's helping me like strengthen a lot of these areas that I'm trying. Like I was talking to you, like my back and my hip and all that, to strengthen these areas. And like the coolest thing is that we focus more on flexibility and sort of like core strength. I don't even touch any weights, man. And these workouts are hard, And where was I getting with this? Yeah, I mean, essentially, like it just feels like you're just warming up the whole time.
Yeah.
But that is the workout.
Yeah.
But it's really intense too. And it gets you the blood flowing. Like I can't imagine. That's what I look forward to. Like before jiu-jitsu, I do some of those like exercises real quick to like warm the blood, and like I feel good.
How excited are you to fight in Vegas next month?
Oh, dude, I'm stoked.
Naga tournament.
I'm stoked.
Naga, February 18th. Pedro Martinez making his debut.
Dude, debut like for the ages. No, man, I can't roll a tournament yet. I haven't had. Here's my excuse list.
I guarantee I've heard all of these.
Injuries, and injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's ever 100% when they roll in a tournament, I guess. Because one thing fixes, and you fix one thing, and then it's like something else the next week, you know.
Yeah, based on the people I talk to, anyone, I don't know exactly what age it would be, but for most people, it's around our age, after us.
That they start.
After 25, 26, you're never 100%.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen. And some people younger and some people older.
The idea of that just bothers me, man. Like, that's why I want to take my yoga practice more seriously, because, like, that, to me, that balance and flexibility is so many more times important than any kind of, like, weightlifting that I could be doing. In my opinion, and for the type of lifestyle I want to live, like, I want to be healthy. I think that's healthier than being, like, carrying 80 pounds on your shoulders. Like,
you know what I think is that the single healthiest thing you can do?
Drink tea?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That's the conclusion I've come to, man.
I mean, it was either going to be that or eating avocados, so that was my second guess.
I'm a big fan of both.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this tea we're drinking, like, I wish we had more.
So tell me,
out of my element, but.
What are the health effects? Anti-inflammatory?
Dude, so if you look up the health benefits of a certain type of tea, especially in like a Chinese-speaking countries, in China, in Taiwan, or translated from there, you can literally get like 1,000 item list.
It's like in Thailand, like Tiger Balm supposedly heals like sprained muscles and like coughs and like sinus infections
and low self-esteem.
Yeah.
If you're insomnia.
Right.
But the reason why I believe it and why like that makes sense to me is because what mostly tea is water. And as you know from experience, man, like if your knee hurts and then you drink less water, your knee is not gonna heal as fast. If your muscles are tired and you're less on water, they're not going to heal. Your whole body gets healed with water. Like that's the first component.
Well, so something I was talking to Kia about actually when he first got here is that now I've been trying to drink a lot more water. I've been doing this for about a year now, just trying to drink like way more water than I used to.
It's hard, man.
It's really hard, and something I try to do is drink like a bulk of my water in the morning within the first like hour or 2 hours of waking up.
Man, so tea is the only way I've ever found out to do that.
Really?
Because the tea, obviously, it's not just water.
Yeah.
It's there's the plant in there, and this tea, the Mad Monk tea, it's all organic, it's specifically sourced, it's fucking badass, delicious tea.
Yeah.
Flavor is what gets you to drink water. And when you're drinking tea, there's no sugar in it or anything. There's no sugar necessary.
Yeah.
This tea tastes like there's honey in it, at least it does to me.
Right.
But it's just because it's
natural flavor.
Fucking good.
Yeah. Good leaves.
I wish I had a better way to explain it, but it's just quality tea.
It's just not. I can tell you firsthand.
From the source.
It's just tasty.
It's just good.
Yeah.
And then there's I don't know if it's caffeine or what it is, man. Because in Chinese, they just say qi. Like,
for tea?
For the effect that tea has on you. The energizing.
Oh, like chi is in
effect.
Like your chi, your energy chi?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it helps your personal chi. So like when, and that kind of makes sense to me, man, because all acupuncture and all that is regulating the chi, getting the chi flowing. And I don't know if you've ever seen like a chi chart of the body, but it's a trip, man.
Why?
Like it's been.
Is it like force fields?
It's been fully mapped out in Chinese culture for, I'm going to guess, a gazillion years. Mm-hmm. Like, it's really, really old when they figured this out. And they still believe it and still matches up, and I felt it. And there's, acupuncture and qigong and all these things that support it. But it doesn't match up to anything in Western medicine. It's not your nerves. It's not your blood.
Interesting.
And so I wish I knew more about it to, like, not sound like an idiot bringing it up.
No, but I mean, it's an interesting concept, right? Like, do you believe in it?
Absolutely, man. There's something to it. You can feel it when you meditate long enough, man.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking you if you were at your meditation retreat long enough to feel the energy exploding out of you. I kind of think you were, man, because I'm sure you left with a lot of energy.
Yeah, I definitely did. And I think I told you I had one really good meditation session that was an hour long, and it only felt like 10 minutes, man.
Yeah.
It was like the only time I was ever able to like truly just, get things out of my head, like get questions out of my head, just like sit there, like not even wonder what time it was, you know what I mean? Like, all of that stuff.
So what that literally is, man, is there's less blood in your prefrontal cortex.
Really?
Yeah, it's regulating...
So that's some of the science behind it, huh?
Yeah. Because the prefrontal cortex, man, that's your sense of time and your sense of self, which is when those things combine is anxiety, depression.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense.
And psychedelics have a similar effect.
Interesting.
That's why if you're on psychedelics, you have no idea like how long it's been or...
Interesting.
And that's the same effect as a flow state. I'm sure you've heard this term flow state.
No, what's that?
Flow state's just that feeling of like being completely absorbed in an activity.
That's cool.
So for you, I'm sure it's guitar is easy. It's like
it is definitely.
It's what the put it in like its most basic way. It's when you're doing something just outside of what your perceived abilities.
Yeah.
So just like so I'm sure there's songs for you to play on the guitar that'd be boring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I mastered this so long ago.
Right.
So you kind of in every field of discipline, it's going just beyond what you think you can do.
Gotcha.
And that's the flow state.
Yeah, no, I hit the flow state when I jam with some of my buddies, and like if I'm just improvising, there are some times when I start like hitting notes and putting together like little licks that I exactly like you said, like did not think I was capable of, and I hear it, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think that's like a good concert. You can kind of tell if someone's like just phoning it in, or if they're up there like going for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the flow state. You can tell it in people. And what I've come to learn is that meditation is just, it makes it easier to cultivate that.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the chores.
But you see,
chores become a flow state when usually they're not.
Are you saying you can like channel your flow state?
Me personally?
Yeah, like say you were to meditate for 30 minutes in the morning, right? And
I did, yeah.
And you like achieve a pretty good flow state. Could you then like go and, for example, do your chores and just be better at doing your chores?
The way it would be, I think if you meditate every day, what I found for myself is that it's easier for me to fall into that state. And then also reading up on it and listening to guys talk about it, I know the constraints to go into it. So one of the easiest ways is to do a quick yoga sesh. Because yoga it's intrinsically like progressive, so that it's easy for you, you just make it a little harder, a little bit harder. Yeah, there's always more you can do. Right, and so that's why it's intrinsically flow. I'm fucking up my words.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Surfing is always like that for me.
Oh yeah, snowboarding can be like that for me.
Snowboarding always. Yeah. Because even snowboarding, man, if you're on like a really simple hill, you can do some hard shit. You know, try to spin while going down, or like do a little jump, or cut off this dude and try not to kill him. It's just adding those little games. Yeah. So a podcast for me, man. Anytime I turn on this recorder, I get a little nervous, you know, because I still feel like I've been talking about a lot on this podcast. Just low self-confidence, low self-esteem. Right. And so when I put this on, all the scary thoughts flood in of like, who's gonna listen? Right. Do I even sound right? Right. All these things. And so that itself gets my heart going. Yeah. Which, it's usually a flow state. I feel like I've fallen out of it now that I'm bringing it up. And now that I'm messing up my words and all these things.
No, you're flowing, dude, trust me.
We've been talking for 50 minutes, and
that's good.
It flew by.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
And so that's what I'm saying, man. You said the same thing about meditation. Like, the sense of time just gets all fucked up. Yeah. Which, when I worked in an accounting office, had the opposite effect. Right. I feel like all my blood was in the all I worried about was like myself and like what people think about me. And what time I'm out of here, and oh Jesus Christ, it's only 10:30. Yeah. All my thoughts were related to that. Yeah. How am I doing? How do these people think about me? Outsourcing my own thoughts about myself, like through the lens of this 45-year-old woman who's just upset that I'm farting in the office.
Man, your office experience sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
It sounds absurd.
I went in there too farty, you know. I went in there too farty, and did I tell you that I got in trouble for? I got caught looking at boobs.
Nope, I'm not hearing about that.
There are 3 people in my office. It was me and the dude to my left. He's like the local, like, just kind of got appointed HR just because there's not an HR department, and he's the head controller, so he's like the most rule-oriented guy. And the other one was my boss, the head of accounts payable, was this woman who had pretty nice boobs, you know. And you know, when you're locked in an office and there's no stimulation throughout the whole day, and you just see a little bit of cleavage without asking for it, without planning on it, without hoping for it, what are you gonna do, man? Yeah, you sneak a peek.
Yeah. I guess
it was out of my control. It was like hitting like we had a little chocolate thing in the kitchen. Yeah. And I never didn't grab a chocolate. Right. Because
I get that.
But obviously on her perspective, man, that's like so like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I think any woman listening, like maybe they don't quite understand that if you see some boobs, there's literally 3 seconds where it's out of your control. Literally. And so when I got fired, they didn't bring these things up, but I guarantee it was a huge thing.
You think so?
Looking at boobs and farting.
The office is just, it's a very specific ecosystem, man.
Very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I felt myself decaying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it is. But, life is all about balance, bro. That's what I've figured out. That's my 25-year-old opinion. Like, if you can balance everything that you need to enjoy your time, then you're winning.
What do you think about this? 10th Planet Black Belt Casey Halstead says, "Fuck balance." You'll say it every time, anytime anyone's listening.
I'd say if that's his mentality, man, that's fine. If that's like what makes him happy, then I get that. Maybe his perception of a balance is different from my perception of a balance.
Definitely.
A balance doesn't necessarily imply like 50-50. You know what I mean? Balance could be like 70-30. If that's the balance that you want, then like, okay.
I feel like I have no balance, Pedro.
Why not?
I don't know, man.
I mean, what's important to you, man? And it's like 2 questions, like what's important to you, and second question is how much time do you spend doing it?
These are good questions.
Yeah.
It's hard to answer like how much time I spend doing things because my life's been so chaotic the past couple of weeks.
Is it really? I would not think chaotic would be the word to describe it, man.
Maybe not chaotic, but like, I've been in many different locations in the past 2 months.
Okay.
In the beginning of December, I was at Vipassana for 10 days, and I came out of that into the holiday season in Costa Mesa.
Yeah.
My brother was in town, and I went from Vipassana of having no sugar in my diet, like it's all vegetarian food.
Yeah.
And, like one day we had cookies, and then I went out of that into just holiday eating. Like,
yeah.
Like one of the first things that I got
6
home,
pounds real quick.
My dad gave me like a brick of fudge. Like it was so good. Like it was so like luxurious and great.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the holidays were done, man, I had to get out of there. I had to go to Vegas. Like I was there for, I don't even know, man, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
More or less. I went to the fights out there, and then I drove back for New Year's, and then I drove straight back out to Vegas. I was hanging out at 10th Planet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess chaotic's not the right word, but undisciplined and not structured.
Okay.
My days have been in the same way today.
Those can be game killers, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Especially because the stuff that I'm trying to do, man, stand-up comedy, jiu-jitsu, they rely on consistency.
Right.
And it's very easy for me, especially the past 2 months, to just go, Pedro's in town. I'm going to go to Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And so thank God.
Well, hopefully there's not like a million other excuses that are of equal caliber. Like, there's a Haagen-Dazs right there. I mean, I might as well just.
Yeah, dude. As long as I don't see a tree, a human, or a. But thank God for this podcast, because now, right now, we're being productive. Like, this podcast is important to me.
Yeah.
I am taking this more seriously in this year.
Right.
But I kind of think I'm not taking it too seriously because the name still hasn't changed from Tales of Macaque.
Yeah.
When I've known for, like, a long time that's not a money-making name.
Right, not really. I mean, you're proud of yourself for that wordplay, huh?
It's a funny name.
Yeah.
I like people's reactions to it.
Yeah.
Especially when they dismiss it and they're negative.
Right.
Like, that's really funny to me, man.
Yeah. But I mean,
a dude in Vegas who's been in the podcast game for a long time. He claims to have had the first podcast. He does it with guys from Sherdog.
Uh-huh.
Sherdog's like the old school MMA forum. They used to put on fights and stuff too.
Uh-huh.
It's old school though. And he's like, "Yeah, man, you do podcast too. What's the name?" We're like, Tales of Macaque. He's like, "Oh, but that sounds like my cock." Like, oh yeah, good point, man. Back to jiu-jitsu.
Have you thought about other names for your podcast?
Yeah.
What else you got?
I grew up a logo, man, of this is actually a really good one.
What?
Richest man in the world.
Yeah, you do live by that slogan, huh?
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a great name for your podcast.
Yeah.
Because, Tales of Macaque, it's funny, sort of double meaning you got going on there, but like, it doesn't tell your viewers anything. But
nothing.
Absolutely nothing. But richest man in the world, I think that sheds some insight in that, like, it sells, man. You do have some valuable content on here. Like, ask a lot of the questions that I think a lot of people are kind of asking themselves.
I'm trying, man.
Yeah.
Trying.
Yeah.
reevaluate this wealth. How do you feel these days, man? Do you feel rich?
You know what? So I've been trying to be more grateful. I don't know. I've been reading just about how gratitude can boost your sort of life value, I guess, if you will, like self-worth. And definitely. The opposite of gratitude, complaining, will do the opposite and sort of like destroy your self-value or, you know, what have you in life. And so every time that I think about complaining about something, I try to like stop myself and think about like something that I can be grateful for instead. And that's actually pretty cool because there's a lot of things that I have to put up with on a daily basis. Like it's cold, for example, in DC right now. So I wake up and I'm like, oh, man, it's cold. And then I think like, I was telling you like, okay, how can I flip this? Like, you know what? Because it's cold, I'm gonna try some Iceman techniques today. Like, I'm just gonna go outside and do it this morning, you know? See if it works. Like, thank God I have this opportunity to try this. I can't just get cold, you know what I mean?
Tell them what you did.
Okay, so, like, Marshall is the first person who told me about Wim Hof, the Iceman, and since then I've been reading about, you know, cold therapy and sort of, like, the health benefits of, like, subjecting your body to cold. It has a lot of health benefits, like, it boosts your immunity, it improves your clarity. It makes you more focused. Like there's just, you know, the list goes on and on.
Yeah. It's like tea, man. It's endless.
Yeah, it's like tea. Yeah. And so what I was telling Marshall, what I did was when we got our first snowfall in DC, I went downstairs in my boxers. As soon as I woke up, I drank like 3 glasses of water, and then I put my timer on for 5 minutes. I went outside in my boxers into the snow and set my timer for 5 minutes. And did a walking meditation that I had learned at the temple in Thailand. And I just did walking meditation for 5 minutes. It was still snowing, and I was freezing, but it was amazing. And I had so much energy when I finished. I had more energy than I had from my coffee, like that day or the day before. Like it was crazy. And like I put clothes on. I didn't feel cold at all for a while. Like usually I wear a hoodie around my house or like a hoodie and sweats. And I was just like, after that I was just in shorts and a t-shirt. I felt great. It was honestly amazing, and I couldn't have done that if it wasn't cold that day.
Yeah, and it's so easy to just be like, man, fuck that cold.
Yeah, I do it every day, and so I'm trying to change that mentality and like apply that to everything in life. Really, man. I mean, there's certain things like sitting in traffic. You know, it's hard to be grateful for much, but you can try. You know, I mean, that's all we can do, man.
Yeah. So I had a thought at Vipassana actually. Because one thing they say there, man, is at Vipassana, you're meditating for 9 days and you're focusing on yourself.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only option. You're not talking to anybody. There's no other stimulation.
Right.
Your only choice is to really think about yourself.
Right.
But then the last day is called metta, which is...
I've heard about this.
The image being that for 9 days you build up self-love.
Right.
It's kind of a natural process of just slowing down, and you kind of look back on yourself and be like, okay, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
Kind of messed up here, but... You kind of that mentality seems to be naturally form from the meditation practice.
Right.
And then metta is taking that self-love, and once it overflows, distributing it to the world.
Yeah.
Way easier said than done.
Yeah.
Like I've done it maybe once where I actually meant it.
Yeah.
All the other times you're trying and you're like, you know, like I hope Pedro has a good day. Like he told me, you know, his life sucks, so I hope you know, it gets a little better here. You know, my brother, I hope he can sleep well tonight. And my mom, I hope, you know. And that's pretty easy, but metta is doing
you
that
like express love onto everything, right?
Every sentient being.
Yeah.
And it's a real thing. Some people can do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've done it once. And it feels great.
Yeah, I bet it does.
But the realization I came to in that whole process, I think, and I have no reason to doubt this, that the point or the main thing that keeps people in every religion is that at the heart of every religion is a big sense of gratitude.
Yes.
Like think about every prayer that I know of right before you eat is about thanking something.
Yeah.
Like thank you God is the easiest.
Yeah.
If there's no other clear explanation for how something got to you, you could thank God. If you don't want to thank God, that's a troublesome word. You can thank the universe.
Yeah.
It's easy to thank people for things. You know, we're sitting here like got from Mikey English. You're sitting in his apartment. Like, that's an easy thing.
Yeah.
Or you could just be so grateful. Being grateful to yourself is the hard one, man.
Yeah, it is,
That's
man. I totally agree with you.
It's so easy to be hard on yourself.
Yeah, but
Like,
you
I'm
have
so good at
to
it.
to a certain extent. You have to be, man. I mean,
It seems
you're
like
not,
evolutionary.
I think it just comes from like the instinct of survival, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't settle.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we're wired, humans.
So to have like both of those, like putting in work, progressing in life, while forgiving yourself for not being that good at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like even this podcast, man, I didn't put out a podcast last week. Mm-hmm. Even though my only goal for this year is to put out a podcast every week.
Right.
So what?
That's an ambitious goal, dude.
There's good
that's
reasons
52
why.
podcasts.
But here's where I fucked up, Pedro. Here's where the only reason why I didn't put out one in Vegas is the guy I asked, he bailed. But the only reason I asked him is because I was too nervous to ask the 2 black belts at 10th Night Las Vegas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that's why I couldn't even get mad at him. I'm like, this guy that I imposed my goal on bailed for whatever personal reason.
Yeah.
Only because I was too nervous to ask Casey Halstead if you want to be on my podcast.
Right.
Something I'm trying to get over myself.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to just have homies on, you know?
Yeah, it must be, yeah.
It's so easy, and I'm sure they're all listening, man. Shout out to Boo, he's probably listening.
Shout out to Boo.
D-Brink listens, man.
D-Brink's listening now?
I hung out with D-Brink in San Francisco.
Oh, I love that guy.
Back in, what was it? When was the election? I hung out the day after the election.
Bro, he's my musician soulmate, dude.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
D-Brink's the one?
Yeah, dude. He's the one that got away, dude. He's the drummer that got away.
Dude, you guys were in a band that only... Did you only practice in my living room?
Yeah.
Like, that's like the only thing that like...
We had one rehearsal at D-Brink's apartment in Mission, and that turned into a shit show. The cops came, like, it was bad. Yeah.
So you guys like won a
noise
contest
disturbance
just by practicing at my house in Ocean Beach.
What was your perspective on that? You loved it, right?
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I felt really bad because I remember I came home, like we thought it was all funny. We didn't know exactly what you guys were doing. We didn't know how many times it would be. Nothing like that.
Right.
So all the roommates thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Until like Chase had to study, and then you guys were like, I'm sure you just texted me or something like, "Hey man, we really need it." And I'm like, I'm not even there. Like, yeah man, go for it.
Yeah.
And then I come home and you guys are just wailing, and then Chase is right there, like, what the fuck, dude. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, man, I had no idea.
This is like the rudest thing in the world.
Yeah, that's so funny. I had no idea that happened.
But, dude, hang on.
Flip side, we crushed it at that gig.
Yeah, you guys played the House of Blues.
Yeah, we murdered it.
I took photos for the first time in my life.
Yeah, that was great. It was great. Yeah, so what were you going to say, D-Brinky, what?
Oh, my God, dude. When I hung out at D-Brink in San Francisco, he picked me up at the Asian Art Museum at, like, 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I'd been there for 3 hours tripping on acid. just wandering the halls of the Asian Art Museum.
Marshall.
The day after the election, man, San Francisco was in a funk.
You savage.
Everyone was just upset about Trump, and there I am just giggling at art.
Yeah.
Like, it was so funny, man. Even, like, the walk to the museum, like, I ate the acid on the way there.
Yeah.
Like, I got breakfast. I fell in line with, like, an impromptu marching band. It was, like, this homeless dude with a flute and this dude with a face tattoo with a bigger flute. The guy with the bigger flute was just shredding, man. Like, I wish I could recreate his sound. But
Peruvian jazz flute?
He had a jazz flute. And he would just, like, shred on and go, like, my bitch left me for my best friend.
Oh, my God.
But it was, like, a happy ending. Like, he got the cat, so he's cool.
Oh, my God.
And he told me about this, like, Tinder-like app that you pay for where he's banging these 25-year-olds.
What the hell?
Like, good luck with your face tattoo. And just walk into the Asian Art Museum.
What did you and Brink do that day?
We just got lunch, man. He picked me up from the museum where I had just been giggling at all these art. I had these headphones around my neck with the Beatles' White Album playing. So I just like forget it was there, and then put it on and start laughing like the Beatles existed, and then take it off and like look at this thing.
Right.
And everyone else in the museum is just like not loving it.
Yeah.
Like it's like kids
it's ordinary. It's ordinary.
Kids on a school project or like moms like trying to reconnect with someone.
Right.
Or, there's teachers, there's people working there.
Right.
And there's me. But the trippiest part, man, was the main exhibit at the San Francisco Asian Art Museum. It's the story of Rama, this Indian deity. And the way the story starts is the demon emperor has ascended to power. That's the first thing you see when it walks in. And I pointed it out to the guy there. I made my first joke of the day. I was like, hey, man, I saw this story on the news last night. It was the day after Trump got elected.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the guy, like, he's seen this exhibit probably a million times. He's just there hating his job. And he looks at it, like, as if for the first time went, oh, shit! Like, this silent museum.
Oh, my God, that's hilarious.
And so I learned, like, I know how Trump dies. Like, I read it at the Asian Art Museum.
Yeah.
It's going to take 25 years. And a dude's going to bust into his house with an arrow.
With an arrow and a bow, or
yeah, that's the way Rama kills people.
Weird.
So
old school.
Yeah. People have been through this before.
Yeah,
we'll get through it.
Yeah.
I thought we should go out with some music, man. You're playing some guitar for the intro. Do you have some licks?
You want me to play something on the guitar?
Yeah, I'll sing for you.
Okay. Let me just pick it up again.
Tales of Macaque podcast. Pedro Martinez.
What have I been playing? Let's see.
Improvising some music.
I've been playing this sort of just little guitar, like we used to play "Ain't No Sunshine" by Bill Withers all the time in the band, and we would always play like different versions of it.
Cool.
And I jammed it with Mike T, who's one of English's good friends from back home. And every time we just kind of take the licks and like add little variations here and there. And so this is kind of what I've been playing around with for the last like couple months, just because it's fun playing. I think it sounds pretty tight, but it's just like. Yeah. That's pretty much it, man.
Ain't no sunshine, she's gone.
Yeah. Here you go. Are you ready to sing it?
That's the only part I know.
Man.
I just sang all the stuff that I know from
What do you know how to sing? Do you know how to sing Buffalo Soldier?
I know how to sing every Sublime song.
Yeah?
I think you know some of their songs.
You want to take it out? All right, I'll give you you want an option of 3 songs to sing?
Is one of them Garden Grove?
Oh, dude, I forget how to play Garden Grove.
That's pretty simple. And I think,
man.
I think that
you want to do Santeria? You want to do What I Got?
I'm trying to remember the words of Santeria. Let's see what happens.
All right, ready?
Impromptu.
I'll give you the intro, okay?
Tales of Macaque podcast. Santeria by Sublime.
Sorry, I fucked up. All right.
Take 2.
Take 2. Ready? Hold on. There we go. Okay, ready?
I don't practice Santeria. I ain't got no crystal ball. Had $1 million, then I'd fuck them all the hookers around the world. Thailand to Cambodia cost $1 million, and then I could impregnate all. I wanna say thanks for listening. Tales of Macaque podcast. I don't know how to match that with a song.
This is why they call me Pedro the Shredder.
Oh, what I really wanna say, my baby. Oh, what I really wanna know, Pedro. Hey.
Oh, fuck.
Dale's Macaque podcast. Thanks for listening.
Thank
Pedro
you.
Martinez. Follow him on Grindr. 12-inch cock on Twitter.
Oh
He's doing his tours to Thailand. He plays guitar. He's a bad motherfucker. You got SoundCloud, man? Are you hitting up SoundCloud? You putting out songs?
I'm coming out with a new SoundCloud in a couple of weeks. I'm doing a new collaborative producer project with my little brother.
Awesome.
We're trying to make some like chilled out music that people can vibe to, people all around the world. So I'll get you more details on that when we're
Luckily,
there.
we're world famous.
Indeed.
Get you back on the podcast sometime, my brother.
Beautiful.
I love you. Thanks
Beautiful.
for listening.
I love you too. Give me 5.